The air in the boardroom felt heavy like the calm before a storm. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring at the Chicago skyline, the Willis Tower piercing the dusk like a blade. My reflection in the glass showed a man who hadn't slept in days, dark circles under my eyes, jaw tight, tie slightly askew. I'm Julian Holt, 35, project manager at Apex Dynamics, a tech firm that builds AI-driven logistics solutions for global retailers. My job is to keep multi-million-dollar projects on track, but that day, November 12, 2025, I knew I was walking into an ambush. Apex's office is a sleek maze of glass walls and open-plan desks, all polished concrete and minimalist vibes. My corner desk, cluttered with coffee cups and post-it notes, sits near a window with a view of Lake Michigan's gray waves. I've been with Apex for 8 years, climbing from junior analyst to the guy who lands deals with Fortune 500 clients. They call me the closer for my knack for sealing contracts others fumble. But my latest project, a $20 million AI logistics platform for a retail giant, was my masterpiece, a career-defining win. Or so I thought. My boss, Vanessa Reed, was a corporate shark in tailored blazers, her smile as sharp as her ambition. At 42, she clawed her way to VP, charming executives while quietly sidelining anyone who outshone her. I'd always respected her drive, even quoted Machiavelli to myself when navigating her games, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But I never expected her to turn that blade on me. 2 weeks ago, I presented the AI platform's final prototype to the client. It was a hit. Vanessa called it game-changing in front of the team. I poured 18 months into it, burning midnight oil, debugging code, and rallying a team of 12 through crunch time. The client signed off, and the board scheduled a celebratory meeting to announce the deal's success. I was set to pitch the project's rollout plan, a move that could land me a promotion to director. But something felt off. Vanessa had been dodging me all week, her replies to my emails curt, her office door closed. Yesterday, I overheard her in the break room laughing with her protege, Ethan, a 28-year-old MBA grad with a smirk that screamed opportunist. "Julian's done the heavy lifting," she said, her voice low. "Now we take it to the finish line." Ethan chuckled and my stomach twisted. I knew that tone. It was the sound of a plan being hatched. Back at my desk, I couldn't shake the feeling I was being played. As Sun Tzu once wrote, all warfare is based on deception. Vanessa was a master of corporate warfare, and I was her target. I opened my laptop and dug into the project files, something I hadn't done since handing them off to Vanessa for the board's review. What I found hit like a punch. My name had been scrubbed from the project's documentation. Every slide, every report, Vanessa and Ethan were listed as leads. My contributions, my late nights, my vision? Erased. I leaned back, heart pounding. This wasn't a mistake. It was theft. Vanessa was stealing my work to secure her own promotion, betting I'd stay quiet to keep my job. But she'd miscalculated. Like Edmond Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo, I knew revenge required patience and precision, wait and hope. I wasn't going to storm her office or whine to HR. I'd build a trap so airtight she'd never see it coming. That night, I sat in my Logan Square apartment, a cozy one-bedroom with exposed brick and a view of the L train rumbling past. I live alone. My last relationship fizzled when my ex, Sarah, got tired of my workaholic streak. Now, Apex was my anchor, my identity. I poured a bourbon, put on Miles Davis's Kind of Blue, and opened my laptop. The city lights flickered outside, but my mind was on Vanessa's betrayal. I've got a habit. I keep quiet. I back up all my work on a personal encrypted drive, a trick I learned after a server crash wiped out a project years ago. Call it paranoia, but as Napoleon once said, a leader is a dealer in hope. I wasn't about to let hope or my career slip away. I pulled up the original project files, timestamped emails, and my commits to the codebase. Every line of code, every client meeting note, it all had my digital fingerprints. Vanessa's edits were sloppy. She hadn't covered her tracks as well as she thought. Then I found something bigger. Buried in the project's financials, I spotted irregularities, inflated vendor invoices, payments to a shell company called Nexus Ventures. The numbers didn't add up. $2.3 million funneled to Nexus over 6 months, disguised as consulting fees. I cross-referenced public records and found Nexus was registered in the Caymans, a classic red flag for money laundering. My pulse raced. This wasn't just about stealing credit. Vanessa was neck-deep in corporate greed. I thought of Confucius: before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Exposing Vanessa could torch my career, but staying silent meant letting her win. I decided to channel Alexander the Great, who conquered empires by striking decisively. I'd gather evidence, build a case, and take it to the one person who could bury her, Catherine Wells, Apex's CEO, a no-nonsense leader who valued results over office politics. The next morning, I rolled into the office at 6 a.m., the hallway silent except for the hum of the HVAC. I used my admin access to pull server logs confirming Vanessa had edited the project files herself, with Ethan's account making minor tweaks. I also found emails between Vanessa and a Nexus contact, a guy named Roland Tate. One message from Vanessa read, "Keep the payments quiet. Holt's too focused on the prototype to notice." My blood boiled, she'd been banking on my trust. I needed an ally. My coworker Maya, a 31-year-old data scientist with a knack for spotting patterns, was my best shot. She was sharp, loyal, and had no love for Vanessa's clique. Over coffee in the break room, I tested the waters. "Maya, you ever notice anything weird with the project budgets?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. She raised an eyebrow, her bright purple nails tapping her mug. "Weird like what? You're not usually the conspiracy type, Julian." "Just some numbers that don't add up," I said, watching her closely. "Thought you might have caught something." Maya leaned in, voice low. "I saw some funky vendor charges a while back, but figured it was above my pay grade." "You onto something?" I nodded, deciding to trust her. "Vanessa's playing dirty. I need your help to prove it." Her eyes lit up. She'd been passed over for a promotion Vanessa promised. "Count me in. That woman's been skating too long." We spent the day digging. Maya used her analytics tools to trace Nexus's transactions, linking them to a network of dummy firms. I pulled every email, every file change, building a timeline of Vanessa's scheme. By 8 p.m., we had a dossier, proof she'd stolen my work, and evidence of her financial misconduct. But I needed one more piece, a way to make her expose herself. I thought of Elon Musk, who once said, "You have to be willing to take risks to achieve greatness." My plan was risky, but it was my only shot. I'd confront Vanessa in front of the board, using the meeting to spring my trap. I spent the night crafting a decoy presentation, one that looked like my rollout pitch but included subtle hints about Nexus's payments. If Vanessa took the bait, she'd panic and slip up. The board meeting was at 10 a.m. The room buzzed with execs, their laptops open, coffee cups steaming. Catherine sat at the head, her gray hair pulled back, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. Vanessa was in her element, all smiles, presenting my stolen project as her own. Ethan sat beside her, nodding like a loyal dog. I stood in the back, my decoy presentation loaded on a USB, my heart pounding. When Vanessa finished, Catherine turned to me. "Julian, your team led this. Walk us through the rollout." Vanessa's smile faltered, but she recovered fast. "Actually, Catherine, I've got the rollout details. Julian's been focused on execution." I stepped forward, quoting Marcus Aurelius to steady myself. "You have power over your mind, not outside events." I plugged in my USB and launched the decoy. The slides started innocently, project milestones, client feedback, but then I slipped in a chart labeled vendor efficiency. It showed Nexus's payments, flagged as pending audit. Vanessa's face went pale. "Julian, what's this?" she interrupted, her voice sharp. "This isn't part of the plan." "Oh, it's relevant," I said, calm as ice. "I found some discrepancies in the budget. Nexus Ventures, for example, $2.3 million in fees for consulting. Thought the board should know." The room went silent. Catherine leaned forward, her gaze locked on Vanessa. "Explain this, Vanessa." Vanessa stammered, her composure cracking. "It's a standard vendor contract. Julian's misinterpreting the data." "Then let's clear it up," I said, pulling up an email from Vanessa to Roland Tate, projected for all to see. "This says, keep the payments quiet. Doesn't sound standard to me." Ethan shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting to Vanessa. The board erupted in murmurs. Catherine's voice cut through. "Vanessa, Julian, my office. Now." In Catherine's office, I laid out everything, the stolen credit, the doctored files, the Nexus scheme. Maya had slipped me a USB with our dossier, which I handed to Catherine. Vanessa tried to spin it, claiming I'd fabricated the evidence, but her voice shook. Catherine wasn't buying it. "I want a full audit," she said, her tone cold. "And, Vanessa, you're on leave until this is resolved." I walked out, adrenaline pumping. Maya gave me a subtle nod from her desk. We'd done it, Vanessa was cornered. But I knew she wouldn't go down quietly. Like Caesar crossing the Rubicon, I'd started a war and there was no turning back. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. A man's voice, low and calm. "Back off, Holt. You don't know who you're messing with." I recognized it, Roland Tate. My hands shook, but I thought of Tony Stark in Iron Man. Sometimes you gotta run before you can walk. I wasn't running. I forwarded the call log to Catherine and a contact at the SEC, someone Maya had connected me with. The next week was chaos. Apex launched an internal investigation and the SEC opened a case. Vanessa's office was cleared out, her access revoked. Ethan, desperate to save himself, spilled everything, admitting Vanessa had coerced him into altering files. The audit uncovered $10 million in illicit payments, tying Nexus to a larger fraud network. Vanessa was arrested for embezzlement, her face splashed across Crane's Chicago business with the headline, Apex VP busted in multimillion-dollar scheme. The board meeting fallout became office legend. Catherine promoted me to director, publicly crediting me for the AI platform. Maya got her overdue raise and a lead role on a new project. I stood on my balcony that night, bourbon in hand, the city lights stretching out like a promise. Like Alexander Macedonian, I conquered my battlefield, not with swords but with data and grit. A year later, I'm still at Apex, running a team that's launching AI tools across industries. My apartment's upgraded, a loft with a view of the Chicago River, a turntable spinning coal train. I've got a photo on my wall, a shot I took at Lake Michigan at dawn, the water calm and endless. It reminds me of Nelson Mandela's words, it always seems impossible until it's done. Vanessa's trial is ongoing, her name synonymous with corporate greed. Ethan left Apex, last seen working some mid-level gig in Milwaukee. Roland Tate vanished, likely hiding in some offshore haven, but the SEC's still hunting him. I don't gloat, it's not about revenge, not really. It's about truth, about proving one person can shift the game. Sometimes I get emails from coworkers who heard my story asking how I pulled it off. I tell them what Machiavelli knew, whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. I adapted, I fought, and I won. And in a world where greed runs deep, that's the only victory that matters.